Morning. Today we are exploring the fountain pen ink by Platinum. Completely forgot what it was called for a moment. It is the Carbon Ink series in black. And I really wanted to get this to use as a fine liner when I do watercolor painting. And because I would much rather use a fountain pen than another type of pen. So I have chosen my Sailor 1911 Large as the dedicated art pen. At least I'm going to give it a try and see, and potentially always have this filled up with the Platinum ink should it all work out the way I hope it works out. So this is a permanent ink. It was a little like thick and sticky on the barrel and the nib, so you can see it took a little while to clean, and also takes a little while to dry, but that's not a really big deal. So even at 30 seconds there was just still a little bit of residual. My main hope though is that I can draw and then put down water and watercolor without any sort of smudging. I also wanted to do a little test to see if I could put down pencil, draw over the pencil, and then erase the pencil, and then put water over it to see how that would work. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. For now, we're just going to draw some random things that I have at my desk, or what I'm actually using right now. So we'll start off with my watercolor paint palette. This is just a little tin that I found at an antique store. And I don't remember what these watercolor trays are. Yeah, I will have to put a link in the description. There's some colors that I don't use, so I'd actually really like to downsize. I have some tubed watercolor paints as well that I wouldn't mind working with and putting in a palette, a travel palette. I am already laying in the hammock today, and it feels so good. There's a little bit of clouds. It might actually rain today. The high is 65, I believe, or 61, something like that, which is really incredible. Yesterday was in the 70s. The day before that, I think it was like 80. So the weather has just been the most perfect weather you could ever imagine, at least for me. I know that's not for everybody, but it's pretty 60s. Oh man, 60s and sunny. I love it. This is a little bottle of the Platinum Carbon ink. I think this is going to be really awesome to work with. I'm so excited. I chose this Sailor pen because it is my favorite of all the Sailor pens that I have. I really like the way this nib writes. I like the way the pen feels in my hand. It's the one I'm most comfortable with, so it just made sense to be like a designated drawing pen. I also I'm a little less worried and protective about it because it's an much older pen, and it already has received some staining and cracks. So it's just like, yeah, okay, will be fine to like potentially toss into an art bag. Another thing I want to test out at the very end is after the watercolor has been put down, can I then go back over that with the pen? The eraser worked out really well. There was no muddiness or smearing with the pencil. Super happy about that. So you notice that right sleeve doesn't have any lines, so I'm going to add those lines in after the sleeve is painted. I love spring here in Tucson, in the Sonoran Desert. I think it's my favorite season, which is really surprising. Well, I can't say that. No, never mind. My favorite season has always been fall, but I am loving spring so much more than I ever did as a kid. Spring was terrifying because it meant that summer was coming, and summer meant 110 degrees, and can't even explain. But you know, I've actually been enjoying the summers here too, just kind of embracing it. There's nothing I could do about it. I'm gonna get really sweaty, and that's all that can be done. So I much rather just accept it, and go outside and enjoy myself rather than hide away in a little ice box. The only time summer gets old is at the very end of the season. I think everybody's just so exhausted. It is physically and mentally exhausting to be exposed to such severe heat for so long. Kind of much like I would imagine a really cold winter somewhere up north would be like. By the end of it, you're ready for a different season. And at the end of summer, when fall begins and the days start cooling, people actually leave their house again, and the world feels alive again, and the animals are moving around again. It's just, yeah, I love fall. The desert comes back to life again, and there's hope. You know that the heat will not last forever, because there are times when it feels like it will. I did go back. I don't know if I've done it yet. I can't see the video. I'm doing a voiceover, but I did try to like muddy up the watercolors in the painting, just because my watercolors are a little, they're not perfectly the color that they're intended to be, because I mix a little bit here and there and they get kind of dirty. While I was painting this, I was listening to an album called Terpsichore, which is a really wonderful name, and it is an album of Renaissance music, and it's just so wonderful. Highly recommend checking it out if you're into that sort of thing. I love Renaissance and Baroque music. It's just so like raw and organic and minimal, but complex. Oh, I think this is where I'm muddying up the colors. Okay, and then let's just see how the pen goes back over the watercolors. Yay! And it works. Okay, I'm very excited. This is going to be a marvelous fine liner. Thank you guys for watching.